Summary of the Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde ****. The Picture of Dorian Gray is a philosophical and Gothic novel by Oscar Wilde that delves into themes of beauty, morality, and the consequences of hedonism. The story revolves around Dorian Gray, a handsome and wealthy young man in Victorian England, who becomes the subject of a portrait painted by the talented artist Basil Hallward. Basil is deeply inspired by Dorian's physical beauty and believes that Dorian's visage captures the essence of his artistic ideal. At the beginning of the novel, Dorian meets Lord Henry Wotton, a charming and cynical aristocrat, at Basil's studio. Lord Henry introduces Dorian to his hedonistic worldview, where the pursuit of pleasure and beauty is regarded as the highest aim in life. Influenced by Henry's philosophy, Dorian laments that his youth and beauty will fade over time, while the portrait will remain unchanged. In a moment of passionate longing, he wishes that the portrait would bear the marks of aging and his moral degradation, allowing him to remain eternally young and beautiful. To Dorian's surprise, his wish comes true. Over time, as Dorian indulges in a life of excess and moral corruption, the portrait begins to reflect the consequences of his actions, growing increasingly grotesque and sinister. Meanwhile, Dorian's outward appearance remains flawless, preserving his youthful allure. This magical phenomenon enables Dorian to live without fear of judgment or retribution, as his sins are hidden from the world. As the years pass, Dorian's life spirals into darkness. His selfishness and disregard for others lead to numerous tragedies, including the suicide of Sybil Vane, a young actress who falls in love with him but is cruelly rejected. The guilt of her death is absorbed by the portrait, which becomes a haunting reminder of Dorian's corrupted soul. Dorian becomes increasingly obsessed with the painting, keeping it hidden in a locked room to prevent others from discovering his secret. Dorian's descent into depravity intensifies as he ruins the lives of those around him and indulges in forbidden pleasures. Basil, concerned about rumors of Dorian's behavior, confronts him and demands to see the portrait. Dorian reluctantly reveals it, and Basil is horrified by the grotesque transformation of his masterpiece. In a fit of rage and fear, Dorian murders Basil, further sealing his moral decline. Haunted by paranoia and guilt, Dorian decides to destroy the portrait in an attempt to free himself from its influence and the burden of his sins. In a climactic moment, he plunges a knife into the painting. The act, however, backfires. The magical bond between Dorian and the portrait is severed, and Dorian is found dead, aged and disfigured, while the portrait reverts to its original state of youthful beauty. The Picture of Dorian Gray serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked hedonism and the pursuit of superficial ideals. Through its vivid characters and richly symbolic narrative, the novel explores the consequences of moral corruption and the ultimate futility of trying to escape one's conscience. Oscar Wilde's masterpiece remains a timeless exploration of the duality of human nature and the price of vanity and excess.